Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Insight with Moonshadow. I'm your host, Moonshadow. And today is a very interesting topic. It's a topic that has always been near and dear to me ever since I was a little child, actually. A lot of times when we are children, we see how, hey, Pamela, we see how children are precious and innocent. And a lot of times we have a strong connection to nature and our surroundings. So to start off, I'll introduce myself. I've been doing healing work for 30 plus years, various modalities, hypnotherapy, Reiki, some shamanic work as well as reflexology and Tai Chi. So this was a lot of soul searching and inner work that I had started with prior to deciding and realizing that I could help other people pass on the information that I learned at a very young age as well. But now with the topic, you have, when we're children, we have this precious gift of being able to connect with people and to see people and to see more of the pure essence of what is around us. So a lot of times they're not taught. We're taught to be more, jaded and things later. We're taught different things later by just evolving. But prior to, many children, they tend to have imaginary friends. Now, these imaginary friends aren't always so imaginary. A lot of people don't realize that. Now, if you didn't have an imaginary friend, it does not mean that the one did not exist or wasn't there around you. All it meant was they were just out of your periphery. Because a lot of times when they're out of your periphery, it's basically them allowing or coaxing their appearance to you. So we have a lot of different totem animals, we can have life protectors, we can have guardian angels, and they're all part of our lives, whether we're aware of them or not. You could also have people that actually have passed on that watch over you as well. And I've had quite a lot of experience with people that have had their loved ones that were passed on, and they were watching over them from a distance. In one experience, there was a little boy that I knew, and he had described this woman, and this woman was, it turned out to be his grandmother, but this woman he never met. So this was very, very interesting, because for a child to have never met their grandparent, but to be able to describe them to the letter, what they wore, what their voice sounded like, things they did, everything was very, very unique, and it's hard to dismiss. So this is one of the reasons why I decided to have this as the first topic of my first show, because a lot of times we are protected and we are watched over without even knowing it. Now, being younger, I was aware, because I could see through the veil a lot sooner when I was young. So I could see, and I could, kind of have a mental telepathy with animals as well. And also was able to connect in such a way where I realized there was something more to it than just, liking bears or something to that degree. Hey, Lance, how you doing? So this is all very, very important, and it depends on your belief system, of course. Not everyone believes in this kind of thing, but that does not mean it doesn't exist as well. So that's also a big part of it. Now, if you have any questions at all, feel free to put any questions in the chat. Also, too, if it's something that you want to make sure that I get if it's a important question, that kind of thing, you can also put it over on the side with the /Q. Don't forget the space. You can also put a question there as well, and it will be thrown over onto the left side so I can see it quicker. Excellent. Okay. So we have a question from Carlos. Now, how do we become more aware? Okay. Very good question. In a lot of ways, there are times that you may be sitting in a room and all of a sudden you see something like a flash or something out of the corner of your eye, out of your periphery. A lot of times there are things that we choose not necessarily to see, you know, and it could be too also when you're a child and you have that imaginary friend that I had spoken about. That imaginary friend or life protector or guardian angel, they do not want any harm to come to you. So a lot of times they don't want, someone to think that badly of you or think you're crazy or anything like that. A lot of times when these imaginary friends all of a sudden disappear or they're gone, they're not really gone. They basically just step back slightly out of your periphery. So as a little side, as a parent, if you're a parent and your child has an imaginary friend, it's not necessarily a bad thing for them to have an imaginary friend, because this could be, like I said, a totem animal, a guardian angel. It could be something that's very real that's there to just protect them and to be there for them. Mel Sherry, welcome. So how to be more aware? Well, meditation is also one thing that you could do to be more aware. You could also just naturally be more aware of your surroundings, because a lot of times we kind of are involved in our own stuff, our own schedules, making sure the kids go to soccer practice and things like that. But sometimes all it takes is just to take a breath and just listen. Just listen to what's around you. Feel what's around you. Be aware of your body. Be aware of, some people take for granted they have this, a beautiful yard or, a playground, something like that. So to be more aware, part of it, you could do meditation. You could do like yoga type exercise or Tai Chi. That also is helpful to make you become more self-aware about who you are and what's going on in your body and what's going on around you as well. Also, guided meditations can also help too, which you can go on YouTube and find a lot of free content that is very, very helpful. So I hope that answered your question, Carlos. And I also want to welcome everybody for being here. I appreciate. Okay, am I a native shaman? Okay. Well, basically, I've been trained by a lot of different medicine men and shaman. I am not a native, not in this lifetime anyway. However, most of my counsel is tribal or native in one way, shape, or form. Okay, and you're welcome, Carlos. All of us have some of us even have more than one protector. You're welcome. So basically what happens is this, and also too, just as a side, there are a lot of people that are non-native that are doing shamanic work. In fact, most of them are doing shamanic work. The actual word shaman comes from a Siberian term. So it's not necessarily native in the sense of a Native American, that kind of thing. Shaman only means wise one. So it's something that at one point in time in my evolvement of my inner work, I had journeyed, which will probably be another topic for another day. I was journeying and I had asked my guides, when does one know, or how does one know if they're a shaman? So basically, Owl, hi Marissa, welcome. So Owl was one of the ones that I had seen in this particular journey, Owl and Bear. So Owl looks at me and basically says, how do you know you're not? So this is part of, again, this takes a lot of belief in being open to be able to understand that you're not necessarily walking alone when you're walking by yourself, you know. So a big bit. You know, it's hard to say. Okay, a very good question, Carlos. Okay, now I try not to focus on any of the negative, as I say, negative juju or negative energy. However, it is possible that, you know, a voice or an imaginary friend can do that. Now, when you're speaking with your child about that, and if they say that the voice is telling them to do bad things, there's nothing wrong with asking questions. You know, as a matter of fact, I'd err in asking more questions to figure it out. Well, yes. Well, able to see, hear, and feel. Some people feel spirit but don't hear them. Like I myself, it's a weird kind of feeling for me because I can smell things sometimes, I can see sometimes, I can hear sometimes. Oh, that's awesome. And when some people just feel them, sometimes it's just a feeling of an energy. Sometimes it's a cold feeling, or very similar to apparitions and ghosts, something to that degree. Now, of course, if you walk up to just anybody and tell them, you know, I see things, yes, a chill would definitely do it. So if you know, sit there and you tell someone that doesn't know you, yeah, I hear voices. Of course, they may want to send you to the funny farm. That's a good possibility. But regarding your child, as far as bad things, it may be something that's a negative energy, but that's something where you can protect your child from that, and you could also have them uh, ask them, what is your imaginary friend telling you? What is your friend telling you? What is this thing telling you? What does it look like? Or what does he or she look like? Ask questions, because that's really, really important. And you could pretty much size up what the situation is. But also, too, there is methods that you could even smudge your child and have this negative energy. You can get rid of this negative energy where they have an open, to have good energy and the right ones around them. Well, you're welcome, Carlos. Okay, we have Marissa here saying, yes, my 2-year-old can see them. So I've had my friend who's very intuitive help us process because she's 2. But I've learned my paternal grandmother's watching over us now. Okay, yeah. See, this is the thing, is that a lot of times we have these influences and these people around us. Intuition is so prominent, and we don't always listen to our own intuition. So something will tell you, you know, you just know, you have this weird feeling, this uncanny feeling that something's up. Not enough people actually pay attention to it. But when you do hone that in and you allow to be open, then you can realize that you may be more protected. You know, there are places that I've been that were not, you know, the most safe places in the world. You know, I remember spending one New Year's Eve in the middle of Boston with a bunch of homeless people and prostitutes, and I actually spent New Year's Eve there, and that was one of my most memorable New Year's Eve because those people, they didn't have a home to go to. They didn't have anybody around them, but they were so soulful. But I didn't go there alone because I always have my counsel with me. You know, one of my counsels is he's a medical intuitive. He's an Asian doctor, as example. He makes sure that whenever I scan someone's body when I'm doing healing work, he will bring up, you know, medical information that the person needs to know about. Then there's also one of my guides that makes sure I'm never late to an appointment. I'll feel a nice a coaxing or a little poke, saying, "Hey, you forgetting something? You got to get up." So you're welcome, Marissa. So a big part of it is we have these people, these entities, and they don't necessarily have to be human. They could be even elementals, which there's so many possibilities here. So that we may have to, I may have to do a part two of this same topic, because there's so many different types of entities that can come in that can help. We have celestials, which we have angels, you have angels and that kind of thing. I've had spirit wolves follow me. I actually had a bear walk in with me into a cafe, and I didn't even realize it at first until I saw it in my periphery. I'm like, holy crap, there's a grizzly walking right near me, walking into a room. Now, again, for some people here, that may sound crazy, and you're possibly right. It could be half crazy. However, there is so much more than just what we see, feel, hear, and touch. There's so much more out there. And something I learned at a very young age, I believe I was in second or third grade, that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It's a scientific fact. And most of us have probably learned that, right? So now, if energy cannot be destroyed, created or destroyed, then that means, since we're made out of energy, then there's different types of energy around us. We change, we're altered, we're recycled, if you will. Okay, now Marissa's here saying, I have 3, and then my grandmother, my guardian angel, and 2 more spirits that are my pillars, I think, like a yin and yang. Okay, yeah. And it's great to know, it's great to be aware of these things, because when you're more aware of who has your back, it is just an amazing feeling. You feel a little more fearless. Welcome, Art. Welcome to the room. And just for anyone that's walked in today, just now, we're speaking about shamanic living and having life protectors and totems, having different entities that follow you and help you. And it's great to see you, Art. I've been wanting to connect with you for quite some time, and I'm really grateful to have you here. So welcome. Now, it can be scary and confusing when you don't understand. And people, of course, with Hollywood and you have books and movies and things like that, they've basically either glamorized or vilified the fact of apparitions and ghosts. Everything is a possession, everything is negative, everything is a harmful or a horrible thing. It's not necessarily like that. There is so much good and so much positive there, more so than not. It's more positive. So that's important. Okay, so now I have here the Arch Alien. Have you ever tried DMT? I have, and always met intelligent beings. Most look like gray aliens. Okay, yeah. I have tried that to some degree, just started to. A lot of my foundation has been working with meditation and movement, Tai Chi. Also, okay, DMT. Oh, okay, if I can remember correctly. It is, would you like to explain it a little bit better, Alien? Since you're definitely more knowledge in it than I am. So it would be great for you to pop that in for me. Because I just started to look into that. But we have so many things that influence us without us really knowing. Okay, you don't know how to spell it, but it's okay. Right. But also too, when you meditate as well, you can also bring yourself down to a frequency without any kind of extra help as well. That's also very, very important. Also melatonin, because melatonin, there's a lot of things, serotonin to build that to get to that frequency at that point where you can open up to a lot of things. A lot of times you could become very lucid. And that's also key here too, is that if you close your eyes and you just focus and just breathe, what ends up happening is your mind and your body starts to open. And when it does open, at what frequency? Okay, well, good question, Laura. Now, whenever someone is doing healing work, from what I've researched and what I've studied, it's about 4 hertz. Now, 4 hertz, Hertz, that is what the earth, the core of the earth, vibrates at. So what ends up happening is when someone is doing energy work or healing work, their frequency vibrates to the same frequency of nature, really. So that's an amazing thing. And you find that whenever you're working with someone, welcome Phoenix, welcome to the room. And when you find yourself, whenever you're getting work done, a sense of calm comes in. And you're able to just feel at ease and feel at peace. A lot of people will experience this during massage as well. And also during any kind of healing work. So one of the big things I would definitely suggest is to be as open as you possibly can and try something new. You know, meditation isn't something that should be scary or a laborious event. It's something where it's not that difficult. It's just about being open and trying it out. You know, so now if there anybody that has had any kind of experiences out there, I know Marissa she's been in touch with her with life protectors. If there's anybody out there that would like to share an experience, feel free to either chime in into the chat, or in a couple of minutes, what I'll do is I'll open up a seat as well. And if you'd like to come on cam, you're welcome to come in and share your experience. Okay, Arch Alien was saying here, during meditation, have you left your body and went an astral plane? Yes. Okay, this is unfortunate. It's fortunate or unfortunate. This is like a dual sword, dual bladed kind of thing. What ends up happening is during meditation, there are times that you can disconnect from your body. Now, that's good because now you've elevated yourself into astral projection. But the issue with that is if you don't know the lay of the land, so to speak, if it's never been, you've never experienced that before, it might be a little bit scary. A lot of times when I go to sleep, I sleep very restlessly because I'm popping out of my body and I'm going other places. I've even gone and visited friends in other parts of the world without even consciously knowing I was doing that. So it is very possible that if you get into a certain vibration that you can completely disconnect. And then this is part of, as I was saying with journeying, shamanic journeying, this is part of what you're doing. You're sending part of your consciousness into a dream state for you to be able to connect with your life protectors, with celestial beings, with your totem animals, and you could speak with them. No different than I'm speaking with you now. And I may actually try something here on this platform with potentially doing a shamanic journeying, a shamanic journey type situation as well, where I think that I think it would work. I think it would translate well with the tech. So that would be cool. Also, too, I would definitely suggest you guys to follow me. It's at Moonshadow143 on Twitter and here in Blab. And definitely, if there's anything that you feel that you'd want to hear, you'd want to know about, definitely shoot me a DM, or just let me know how what you're thinking, how you're feeling about something. If you have a question, even after this show is done. I would be glad to follow up on any questions. And if there are enough questions, I would be glad to open up another show to use that topic as well. So now what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to open up a seat. And if anyone is ready to share, you can jump in the seat, or you could share in the chat. That's perfectly fine and good. And in the meantime, I will share this with you. Now, this is an incredible book as far as connecting with more so totem animals here. But this is Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. This is a must-have. I've got 2 of these books. I had to buy a new one because this one has basically been, as I say, well-loved. But this will help you so much. And also, too, if you have any other questions about spirit guides and life protectors. Can I post the book title for us? Okay, yes, I can. It's Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. Thank you very much, Carlos. I appreciate that. And also, I will, I can show it to you here so you can take a look at the cover. This is an older copy. He may have changed it up a little bit, but the subtitle, the subtext here is The Spiritual and Magical Powers of Creatures Great and Small. So basically what this book will do is that will give you a lot of the essence of, thank you very much, Herbie, for that. Appreciate that. It will give you the essence, the physical characteristics, what the animal does, also the metaphysical and the mystical properties of that animal. So say, for example, like bear is one of my prominent ones, and I do carry a bear claw around my neck. I made this choker quite a long time ago, and it's been all over the world with me. And this is honoring bear. Now, just bear as a totem, you're not honoring one bear. So if you have a spirit animal or a totem animal, it's not one bear. It's not a specific bear. It is all bear, all the bear that are in the world, the bear that have been, that have passed on to, onto another, the transitioned, the bears that are here now, and the bears that haven't even been born yet. So it's the species of bear. So just think, how powerful is that to know that your totem animal, you are connected with every single animal in the world. It's amazing. It's crazy to wrap your head around it, So this is very, very important stuff. Now, if anybody, if you have anything to share, or if you have any questions, or if you'd like to pop into a seat, you're absolutely welcome to pop in. And thank you for the props, everybody, as well. And anything within topic or similar to the topic, if it's close, feel free. Let's see here. So now, question. Now, has anybody ever felt, or they felt connected, or they had this fascination with a particular animal? Okay, I'm going to let William in. Welcome, William. Because one of the things that you could go by, too, is if you have a fascination with a particular animal, there is a good chance that that animal is one of your totems. Welcome, William.
Welcome. Look, I'm not moving. I pulled over.
Good. That's being safe.
Hey, I just want to make sure that you're aware. That book link that was dropped, it looks to me like that's an affiliate link. Unless you guys have previous agreement upon that, I just want to make you aware. So if someone does purchase it, whoever dropped that affiliate link will receive compensation. Now,
okay.
Just want to let you know. You're doing a good job, by the way. Keep doing what you're doing. Oh,
thank you so much, William. And yeah, I'm not even affiliated with any affiliations of links at this moment. So
no, whoever the person who put it in there will receive something. So all right, I'm out of here.
All right, thank you very much, William. Thanks for coming in. Okay. All right. So now we have Marissa asking a question here. How did you find your totem animal? How did you know it was bear? Okay. Well, oh, you probably just found it on Amazon, right? Right. Okay. So that's probably what happened because it's connected with Google. No worries, Herbie. Thank you, though. So now, Marissa, how do you know your totem animal? Well, there's multiple ways of doing it. You can journey for your totem animal, which I suggest journeying for your totem animal. It does take a little bit of time to do it, but it's not something. It is pretty cool. Okay, how do you journey? With a shamanic journey, what you do is you're using a drum. Now, the rhythm of the drum, how fast or how slow the drum is, it's usually at a steady pace, and that's guiding you along. That's kind of like a timekeeper or a watch. So when you first come in, it's a nice, slow, steady rhythm, which at this point, with the questions that I've been asked, I'm almost positive I'm going to have to do a topic on shamanic journeying for sure. So, but it's based on a drum or a rattle. And this is how most shaman or shamanic people journey. Now, when they do that, as you have that steady beat, you're going in, and also too, just by the way, if you want to try it out, there are on YouTube, you can find shamanic journeying, guided meditations and things like that as well. But now when you have that steady rhythm with the drum, that's a guide, and that keeps you partially lucid, partially in connection with your physical self. And that reminds you when to come back as well. There have been many times that I've been in the middle of a journey and I didn't want to come back because I was just really having such a major experience with it. And I have Cindy here saying that she's identifying with the wolf. Now, the wolf is actually very interesting too. That's a pathfinder. Pathfinder teachers, a lot of teachers tend to have wolf as a totem. Wolf is also very, very connected with partnership. So that's also, wolves are very, very loyal. Dog is also very loyal as well. So that's also a big part of it. So now with the journey, okay, and I will get to lion too in a sec, Carlos. With the journey, once you go in and you have that steady beat of the drum, you're going in there, and then you could be going in there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, that kind of thing. When you're ready to come back, what happens is the person running the drum or beating the drum will start beating a little bit faster. So it's kind of like saying, okay, hey, you know what? You got to come back. And then at that point, you'll get 4 taps on the drum. For the case of continuity, I'm not going to go grab my drum right now, but I should have thought of that. Hindsight 2020, right? So when you hear the 4 beats, which is like bump, 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 and then you hear another time, you hear bump, 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 that is time to bring you back. And at that point, you reacclimate yourself to your body, you wake up, you slowly open your eyes, and it's going to ultimately feel like you've had a really, really, really good nap. Okay, so now, Carlos asked about lion. Now, lions are very, very interesting. I haven't worked with lion much. However, looking into lion, let's see here, we can pop open my book and give you a practical information here with the lion. And we could highlight what's going on with the lion. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Okay, so with lion, it's the assertion of the feminine and the power of the female sun. Okay. Now, this is saying that it's the second largest member of the cat family. It's in the savannas of Africa. It's also attributed to sun and gold. and also the sun god Mithra, which a lot of the deities have been based on Mithra, by the way. Let's see here. Females are the best hunters. Let me see here a second. Also, it says here, the lion does not fight for the sake of fighting. It avoids confrontations and will leave the scene of danger if possible. So this is a tactic to help keep in mind that the lion is your totem. They also hunt by stealth. All right, so it says here, if the lion has showed up, there'll be an opportunity to awaken to a new sun. Trust your feminine energy. So this is part of your being aware of your polar opposite, your female side. Creativity, intuition, and imagination. So, and it says here, don't be afraid to roar if you feel threatened or intruded upon. So that's just a little. Now this was like, you know, a page and a half of just line itself. So this is one I didn't want to go due to time. I didn't want to go read the whole thing word for word. However, that is very, very. It's an intense thing to have any particular animal. I actually knew one of my close friends has the totem animal of ant. You're welcome, Carlos. Now, ant. Let's just say ant. Really? Ant. Ant is this tiny little animal. Almost could be stepped on, mistaken, forget it, right? Well, and the arch alien says ants are aliens. You know, for all you know, you never know. It's possible. Ain't man. So now ants, for example, is patience. Because if you think about it, ants have this ability to carry things that are like 50 times their weight. So now let's just think about this for a second. You are your size. Just imagine if you can pick up 50 times your weight. I think that's pretty balls, right? That's like hardcore. So this is a big part of it here. So just because you don't have, you know, an eagle or a wolf or a lion or, you know, something incredibly, you know, big and what's the word I'm looking for? Potent, I guess. You can have something like hummingbird. Hummingbird is joy. Now, if you look at the hummingbird itself, all it does is it floats from one flower to the next. Without hummingbirds, we wouldn't have the pollination that we do. And something that small is that needed. So don't dismiss the ant or the grasshopper or any other totem that you may have. So, you know, that's important. Now, also here, let's look into if we have any other questions here. Okay, now being aligned, okay, identify with the moon. Okay, well, I have always definitely aligned with the moon in a lot of ways. It's always that energy, and also too the fact that we are 99% water. We get affected. This is why there's lunacy, lunatics. You know, that is why. Because the moon affects our tides no different than it affects, you know, ourselves. So ultimately, we are affected. So if there's a full moon, you notice if there's a hunter moon or a blood moon, and you notice that people are just off the reservation, all right, think about this. It's because their inner balance is getting kind of messed with a little bit because their tide is in flux. So that's a big part of it. Okay, let's see here. And the arch alien says he doesn't trust ants. Is that could be because you watched Ant-Man? Well, it is possible, I guess. Well, yeah, you can connect with it. It is possible. But also too, this planetary aspects of things. There's different, there's so many different ways and different ways we connect with nature. And this is only just scratching the surface. The topic of this show is just scratching the surface on just you being aware of your surroundings, being aware of what's around you. Because ultimately, there is so much out there that we do not see, that we just, I don't know, either we don't choose to, or it could be our upbringing, or it could be our faith, our religion, depending, you know. The arch alien says he does not like anything with a lot of legs and big eyes. Well, I can understand that. I don't want them in my house, but I don't mind if they're outside. I'm okay with that. Definitely. Yeah, we don't want any pests or termites or anything like that. That's not something that we want to have for sure. Yeah. Now, has anybody ever had experiences of having an animal be around them? Because with totem animals, sometimes if you see an animal, strangely enough, if you see an animal more often than not, unless you're, a cat person and you have 40 cats, that's a little different, then that animal could very much be your totem animal. Okay, arch alien, cats love me. So apparently ants don't, maybe, or you don't have very good juju with ants, maybe, but cats love you. That's really, really cool. I've come to find that since animals and children are pure-hearted, they tend to be good judges of character. See, there you go. And Laura's also saying that she had a dog follow her for like half an hour. He probably wanted to play. Welcome, Sunday. Welcome to the room. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. See, a lot of times kids can usually tell whether you're open-hearted or whether you're of good spirit or not. And they can also tell if you're having a bad day. They are very incredibly intuitive. So it kind of pays. It's a good thing to pay attention to your children, if you have children, or your animals, because they are the barometers of what's going on around them. Also, too, children and animals usually tend to have the ability to intuitively see and hear things a lot quicker than us as adults, because as we grow up, quote unquote, we tend to kind of just not deal with childlike things. Like up until cartoons on Saturday morning, it turned into, not so much great content or great shows. I was watching cartoons with my friends' kids and things for quite a long time. So it's always good to stay, don't let the inner child necessarily grow up, because you could learn a lot from it. Okay, the arch alien says, do you think if we love some kind of animal, they can sense that and will be attracted to us more? Because like I said, cats love me and I love them, but do not have one. Okay. Well, yes, I do believe so. All of us have like a favorite. All of us have like a favorite. With me, I have ravens. Like, for example, like honoring another one of my totems is a raven. And this happens to be a raven skull in sterling silver. Now, everywhere I've been around the world, I've had ravens follow me. I'm talking a lot of ravens, constantly cawing and everything. I was in South Africa, and out of nowhere, all of a sudden, a raven ended up next to where I was staying, and it was cawing at me. So a big part of that is, you will connect, and if you're open to it. No, well, they have, unfortunately, they have been a harbinger of death, but so is owl. Owl, for example, in some tribes, owl is the harbinger of death, and then in some tribes, owl is also the character, or a character has the characteristic of wisdom. Look at Harry Potter. They had owl, Harry Potter had an owl, didn't he? Now, Raven is actually the trickster and is actually the keeper of part of the mystery, the great mystery. Now, the great mystery is very much like you have your conscious and subconscious. You have your conscious, which is only about this much, and then you have your subconscious, which is massive. It's like Alaska. It's like living in a house in Alaska. Your consciousness is only the house, but the rest of the country is your subconscious. So that being the case, that is the great mystery. And it's up to us to connect to the great mystery so we can get answers, so we can know things, so we can become as intuitive, as evolved as we can be. So Raven was the trickster. And as a matter of fact, there's a small little story about the Raven that came up with Dragon. Now I'm going to paraphrase, as I don't remember it word for word, but paraphrasing the story, Dragon was there with Raven. Now Dragon, obviously you see dragons. Dragon's big, huge, flame breathing, massive animal. And then you have Raven, which is much smaller. So now Raven looks, and now Dragon, of course, is full of ego at this point, saying, I'm the biggest and the baddest. I'm the Billy Badass of everywhere. I can do anything. No one will fight me because I'm just the best and the baddest, right? So now Raven, since Raven is the trickster and is also the keeper of magic as well. No, I don't think Satan was ever connected to Raven. Well, you mean Dragon? Yeah. Well, I think it was just kind of Eve. I think Dragon was just kind of pumped up. You know what I mean? Some people just get pumped up with ego. So now Dragon's all up about himself, and Raven said, "Okay, I wonder if you're so big and bad and you can do anything. I bet you can't change into the smallest, tiniest little creature." Right? So of course, Dragon, he doesn't want to be, he doesn't want to be second guessed. He doesn't want to be showed up. So he's like, yeah, watch this. Zap, poof, he turns into a dragonfly. So there's a lot of native tribal people that believe dragonfly and Raven ate him. No, Raven didn't eat him, but the dragon learned a really big lesson revolving around ego, didn't he? Because now he was stuck as Dragonfly. And strangely enough, Dragonfly, the message behind Dragonfly is illusions, is to see past illusions, see past smoking, the smoke and mirrors, see past people's masks. So anyone that has a dragonfly totem, they have the ability to see through BS, see through people, and see the real, genuine energy behind someone's intention. So that just goes to show how powerful animals are. Also, too, I believe someone had mentioned turtle. I believe. Let's see here. Let's go back in the chats. I think it was Marissa. Okay, yes. Now, turtle. There are tribal people that believe, first of all, they call Earth Turtle Island. Okay, and there are some natives that believe that there was a big, huge cosmic turtle, and the reason all the planets fell off its back. Now, if you look at a painted turtle, you can kind of see exactly. You can kind of see that it would be an interesting concept that the world has fallen off a large turtle. So yeah, so turtles are very interesting animals as well. So now, does anybody have any other questions? I know we're coming up to the end of the hour. We have about 10 more minutes. And this topic, I'm sure, I from the sounds of it, I think I'm going to have to do a follow-up with this topic if people are interested in wanting to know more. And also too, I'll make sure I'll have a drum handy as well, and other props. And Carlos says, "Yep, okay, excellent." And also, don't forget to follow me and to add me on Twitter. I will usually have food for thought, and I usually tweet things that are more, food for thought, makes you think, stuff that is important, that could provoke you, but provoke your thinking, not necessarily in a negative way. So is there anybody that wants to pop in, uh, share any experiences you've had, anything? I know Arch Alien, you've been very vocal here. If you'd like to pop in, there's also Carlos. Carlos, you're welcome to come in. And if you're comfortable, of course. So anybody that would like to come in, you are welcome. Okay. We have Arch Alien coming in. Welcome.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome.
I just want to say thanks for doing this. I really like everything that you're talking about. It's interesting to me. I kind of know a little bit about the things, if you couldn't tell. I've been on kind of a spiritual journey for 6 years now. Started with the Bible, and then I just went to other religions, and now I'm kind of like in this new age stuff, and I put like everything all into one ball. And I like that you said the shamanic thing, because I really don't know too much about that. And that's what I was, wanting to know a little bit more about.
Super.
Because I asked you like earlier if you were native or anything. And I know I have some kind of Cherokee in me, I believe.
Oh, fantastic.
Not much, but some.
It's some. You got some in you there. But that's important. And basically, shamanic work, a lot of shamanic work, you don't have to be a shaman to do shamanic work. You know what I mean? You don't have to go that deep into it. A lot of it is just living with nature that close to your heart. You know what I mean? If you enjoy having a walk somewhere, and I'll tell you this is a little trick for you guys. I'll give you a little moon tip here that you could do to calm yourself down if you're feeling stressed. And I have been accused of being a tree hugger because I also work with troubled kids as well. And I was told that I was a hippie tree hugger. Now, that's not really an insult, because I looked at him and I said, yeah, I am a tree hugger. Yeah, pretty much. But the thing was, every time I was going into work, there was this really large oak tree next to where my job was. And my job was a stressful place. So what did I do? It doesn't have to, you don't actually have to go and hug the tree and look like a crazy loon. No. You don't have to do that. But every time I walked past that tree, which I made sure I walked past that tree, I would ground myself. I would just put my hand on the tree and say a little affirmation and just allow, just for that second, take that energy to ground me so I wouldn't have a stressful day. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just to be mindful for that 1 second and to focus on that. And a lot of people don't always think that way. It's sometimes it's so simple. It takes just a second.
Yeah.
To change your focus. And then once you do that, then you realize, wow, wait a minute. This is like crazy. I feel awesome. And all you did was a 5-minute breathing meditation. Or you just sat down next to a tree. Read a book, lean against a tree. You will feel something. And if you close your eyes and you become aware, you're going to feel even more. It's going to be more intense.
And the cold also helps.
True. So yeah, definitely. So I'm glad I was helpful, and I'm glad you really, really enjoyed the topic, because it's something that if you find other things that you're interested in, and if it's in my toolbox, I'd be glad to bring the content to a show or to a blab.
Okay. I was wondering, I asked you earlier, you didn't answer it. Have you ever heard of a guy named Wim Hof?
Wim Hof?
Yeah. He's famous for having like 26 or so records of being in the cold. He climbed Mount Everest in his shorts, and nothing else. And I've been doing his
I think so.
He's got like this breathing thing where he says you can control, everything in your body. You won't feel the cold. Like I've had back pain for a little over 10 years now. And since I've been doing this breathing, my back pain is gone. No medicines, no pills or anything. And all it is you breathe in deep, as deep as you can, and then breathe it out, but don't breathe out all like as much as you breathed in.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that 30 times. And on the last breath, breathe everything out and hold your breath. And the doctors and everything say when you hold your breath for like over a minute and a half with no air in your lungs, it raises your blood pH level and everything. So I could go outside in minus 20-degree weather and not feel it. Like it feels like a nice warm day out, which it sounds crazy. And I thought it was crazy, but I'm like, hey, let me give it a shot. And it's worked, and it helps with my pain. I'm not in pain anymore. So I suggest maybe you should try that.
Yeah, I was doing that when I was shoveling snow today, because I don't believe in wearing a lot of layers. So I was out there with just basically a t-shirt and a fleece.
Yeah.
And that was it. But yeah, that's definite. I have heard of him, actually. I remember that, because he was also, didn't he try to sit, they tested him and put him in like ice baths, things like that?
Yeah, because scientists and doctors say that this is impossible. And, he's been teaching people all over the world where they shot him up with like some kind of endotoxin, which like within a half an hour, it should have made him completely deathly sick or whatever. And just by him doing his little breathing thing, he fought off that endotoxin. He didn't get sick. He said he got like a minor headache, but, not much. And scientists are like, okay, well, you're just a superhuman or what? Scientists and doctors are like, you're just a superhuman or whatever.
Yeah.
But he taught, 10 other people to do this, and they all did the same thing. And the doctors and scientists are baffled about it. Like, this can't be, but it is. It's happening.
Well, what he's doing is he's attaching to what yogis do. He's actually controlling his mind, because ultimately, if you think about it, your brain is only like a computer, and your body has to follow suit. Yeah. So if you are really in touch with your mind and your body, then you can do amazing things.
Yeah. And
we have Laura calling me here. Moon. Okay, she's reminding me about the time. I can almost guarantee.
You gotta go.
And yes, we have a couple of minutes, but you don't have to necessarily leave. This is just more to keep the recording and the show down to an hour, so it's a nice bit for the replay. But you guys are welcome to stay. Absolutely.
Okay. I was wondering when you'll be back on again.
Well, I'm looking at doing this a weekly show. I'm going to let Elizabeth in. Okay, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I do his breathing thing before I meditate too, and it seems to help get me to where I'm trying to go, like the astral plane, like you said.
Yes.
So
okay.
That's what I'm trying.
Right. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
I wanted to ask a question. I am so affected by EMFs. Okay, electromagnetic frequencies.
Okay.
And with your work, do you find that I am using crystals, I am using a salt lamp, and because doing this, being on Blab and using the internet so much more, and plus as I open up, I am so sensitive to the energies. So I was wondering, if you have any recommendations to use to protect yourself.
Okay, that's a very good question. Well, basically, I have a couple of different recommendations, and what I'm going to do is I have to make sure I watch my time. I'm going to answer your question, and I'll stop the recording, but doesn't mean that the show is necessarily over. I can ask, I can answer questions, and you guys are welcome to stick around. Now, regarding EMF, a lot of times, unfortunately, we are bombarded by energy constantly. And thank you very much, Lance, for coming, for hopping in. Now, we are constantly bombarded by energy all the time. We have microwaves and we have cell phones. Like, for example, I would completely suggest, instead of going with putting your phone to your ear, use a Bluetooth because it's a much safer for you. Now, you're
Oh,
welcome, Lance.
I can't even use a Bluetooth because it gives
Yeah.
me a headache. But well, let me go. Let you go ahead and give your recommendations. I'm just looking at different ways to shield, so that I can use this medium effectively,
Yes.
without causing dis-ease in my body,
Yes.
if you know what I mean.
One thing that you could try, and this may be helpful to you to start anyway, and I will have to look into it a little bit more, but you can, this is definitely something you can try out. What you do is, now all of us have an aura.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all of us are producing energy that's putting out. So what could be happening is your aura could be weakened, and therefore you're more sensitive to the EMF energy, correct? So now what you can do is you kind of pump up your aura a bit. It would be good to kind of stay away from things every now and then, take a break.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't. They're attached to their phone 24/7, or they've got a computer screen or whatever.
I don't use a cell phone. I
Right.
use a landline.
Right.
And I'm using certain crystals. I work on building up my auras and cleansing my chakras. But
Right.
I was wondering if in the shamanic work, if
Yes.
there is anything that I have overlooked in trying to shield myself from those additional energies.
Well, one thing you could do, a technique that you can use is, I call it the bubble. I call it the bubble technique. What you do is you find yourself, you sit down quietly, you just breathe, and you envision yourself in a large energy bubble, like an egg. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's surrounding you completely. It's going under your feet, so you're completely enveloped by this energy bubble. You could do also the same thing if you find yourself in a stressful place, or if you're at work and then things seem kind of like erratic. You could also do that as well. And when you do that, that could shield your body away from the EMF, and it kind of puts it out there further out. So instead of, like, say this is your body, instead of the EMF being closer to your skin, it's out here. So you're using that energy shield as a buffer. I would also suggest that you may want to try working with Herkimer diamond. It's a higher frequency crystal.
Herkimer, how do you spell that?
It's H-E, I can write it in the chat.
Please.
It's Herkimer. Yeah, Herkimer, and it's called Herkimer diamond. They had mistaken and thought it was diamond when it actually is just an incredibly hard quartz.
Okay.
You could also work with that. You can also hang it around your neck. I also see here you have a beautiful necklace there of stone.
Yeah, this is Hawkeye. So it's what, blue tiger eye?
Oh, super! Tiger eye is one of my main crystals as well. But looking at the time, you feel free to stay. We're going to end the show as far as the recording and going to after hours with the show. So I just like to say thank you for everyone that has come and participated. I am very, very grateful for you to bring in your energy and your love and light into the room. All your questions, they were incredibly pertinent and incredibly important, and I am very, very grateful and very appreciative of it. And all I can say to all of us in this room today is pay it forward. Put your energy out there, because if you're putting good energy out, good energy comes back. So on that note, pay it forward, everyone.